Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining in at a very short notice. We will start with the Mangalacharan prayers, and then we'll go on with the study of Easy Journey to Other Planets by Srila Prabhupada. Then we'll go on to chapter 12, verses recitation, then to Gopi Geet, then to Damodar Leela, and then Damodar Ashtakam and offering of diyas. That will be our schedule. So again, once again, I'd like to thank all of you for joining in at a very short notice. Thank you. Hare Krishna. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरिः ओं तत्सत्। गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome all of you for today's special Kartik program session. First, we're going to start with Easy Journey to Other Planets by Srila Prabhupada. So we are on chapter number 1. It's a very small book which has about 2 chapters. The first chapter talks about the anti-material world, and the second chapter is talking about the varieties of planetary systems. So here we are talking about what is anti-material world. Anti-material world refers to this Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, right? So this material world is, this is anti-material world is the opposite of this material world. So the material world is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Anti-material world refers to that supreme personality of Godhead's abode, right? Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Krishna tells Arjuna, right? Someone who comes back to me, to my abode, will not again go back to the material world, right? So this abode of the Lord is what is anti-material world, right? This anti-material world we saw is Sat Chit Ananda. It's not subject to destruction. There eternally, the jivas are serving the supreme personality of Godhead with pure love and devotion. Whereas in this material world, because we are covered up with the desire for sense gratification, because we are covered up with lust, anger, greed, pride, and illusion, we are not able to render service to the Lord in a mood simply of service, or simply for reciprocating our gratitude with the Lord. Right? Generally, when we do services in this material world, it is always with a hidden agenda, with an agenda to get something back from the other person whom we are rendering service to. But in the spiritual world, service is not like that. Service is aituki apratihata. That means it's unmotivated and it's uninterrupted, right? And then Prabhupada is continuing to talk about what are the differences between the material world and the anti-material world, right? The material world is always destructive. The anti-material world is never destroyed, right? This material world is filled with living entities who are filled with kama vasanas. Whereas the spiritual world, the anti-material world, is filled with those living entities who want to eternally serve the Lord. They are Nitya Siddhas, Nitya Parshadas of the Lord. Here, in the material world, we are all Nitya Baddhas, or we are conditioned living entities in this material world. Okay, so let's continue with our reading of this book. The nature of the material world is destructive from there. Anybody wants to read? Okay, I'll just start reading. If anybody else, okay, Leela Nandini Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Yes, Mataji.
The nature of the material world is destructive. According to the Bhagavad Gita, there is some partial truth to the assumption of the physical scientists that there is annihilation of the material and anti-material worlds when they chance to clash. The material world is a creation of changing modes of nature. These modes, that is gunas, are known as sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. The material world is created by the mode of rajas, maintained by the mode of sattva, and annihilated by the mode of tamas. These modes are omnipresent in the material world, and as such, at every hour, every minute, every second, the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation is taking place all over the material universe. The highest planet of the material universe, that is Brahmaloka, is also subjected to these modes of nature. Although the duration of life on that planet, due to the predominance of the mode of sattva, is said to be 4,300,000 into 1,000 into 2 into 30 into 12 into 100 solar years. Despite this long duration, however, Brahmaloka is subject to destruction. Although life on Brahmaloka is fantastically long compared to life on Earth, it is only a flash in comparison to the eternal life of the non-material worlds. Consequently, the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna, asserts the importance of anti-material universe, which is his abode. Lord Sri Krishna instructs that all the planets within the material universe are destroyed at the end of 4,300,000 into 1,000 into 2 into 30 into 12 into 100 solar years. And all the living beings inhabiting this material world, material planets, are destroyed materially along with the destruction of the material worlds. The living entity, however, is constitutionally an anti-material particle. But unless he elevates himself to the region of the antimaterial worlds by cultivation of antimaterial activities, he is destroyed materially at the annihilation of the material worlds and is subjected to take rebirth in the material shape with the rebirth of a new material universe. In other words, he is subjected to the pains of repeated birth and death. Only those living entities who take to the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead during the manifested stage of material life are undoubtedly transferred to the anti-material worlds, where after quitting the anti-material worlds, after quitting the material body. Immortality is obtained only by those who return to Godhead by practice of anti-material activities.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Haribol Mataji.
Thank you, Haribol. So, very, very important 3-4 differences Prabhupada is talking about the material world and the spiritual world. One is even the Brahma Loka, which is inhabited by Lord Brahma himself. Although he enjoys a very long time duration, it is considered to be a flash when it is compared to the duration of the non-material world, right? Brahma Bhavana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. So although Brahma is the head of this material planet, right? That means he is the head of this material world, right? The non-material world is still better than the highest planet of this material world, right? That is why it is said the time duration of this material world, the highest planet, which is some 43 million into 1,000 into 2 into 30 into 12 into hundreds of years of Brahma, right? Although they are destroyed after such a long time, it is still much, it's considered to be a flash of a time when it is compared to the spiritual world. Secondly, only those living entities who take to the loving service of the Lord are transfer to the anti-material world. Until we develop loving service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will be doing Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi within this samsara chakra, right? What is that? Right? Dukkha doshanu darshanam, right? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha doshanu darshanam, right? The such dukkha we'll be experiencing as long as we are in the material world. Even if we are in the position of Brahma or we are in the position of an Indra Gopa, right? Whether we are Indra or Indra Gopa, whether we are as powerful as Indra or as insignificant as Indra Gopa. If you are in this material world, we need to undergo these 4 problems. What are those? Birth, death, disease, and old age. And then Prabhupada is now talking about how do we attain that immortality. What is immortality? Immortality means no death. No death means we are not talking of this material body. We're talking we are talking about the immortal soul, right? Nainam chintanti, what is that? Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayanti apo, na shosheti marutaha. Right? The soul cannot be cut into pieces by weapons. The soul cannot be dried by wind. The soul cannot be burnt by fire. Right? Such a soul is eternal. It is non-destructible. And such a non-material element can only be found in the spiritual world. In the material world, it is bound or it is covered or it is encaged within this material body, which is material. Therefore, this material body dies, and then the soul again takes another material body in which it takes shelter, like that, according to guna and karma. Now, Prabhupada is going to talk about what is this Aushadhi, right? Enichi Aushadhi Maya Nasibaro Lagi, Harinama Mahamantra Lao Tumi Magi. So, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the medicine. The taking of this medicine will cure us of our material disease and will enable us to go back home, back to Godhead. So, what is this medicine? That is what is described by Prabhupada in the upcoming verses. Okay. Sindhu Mataji, you can unmute and read. What are these anti-material activities from there? Yeah.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that's around, now only I got it. Okay. Hare Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What are these anti-material activities? They are medicines. For example, when a man falls ill, he goes to a physician who prescribes medicines which eventually cure the suffering patient. Similarly, the materialistic is ailing and he should consult an expert, transcendentalist physician. What is his ailment? He is suffering the tribulations of repeated births, death, diseases, and old age. Once he agrees to put himself under the back-to-head treatment, he is able to transfer himself to the anti-material world where there is eternal life instead of birth and death. Annihilation of the material world takes place in 2 ways. Partial annihilation occurs at the end of every 43 lakhs into 1,000 solar years, or at the end of each day of Brahmalok, which is the topmost planet in the material world. During that time of partial annihilation, the topmost planets such as Brahmalok are not annihilated, but at the end of each duration of 43 lakhs, into 1,000, into 2, into 30, into 12, into 100 solar years, the entire cosmic manifestation is merged into the anti-material body from where the material particles emanate, manifest, and merge after annihilation. The anti-material world, which is far removed from the material sky, is never annihilated. It absorbs the material world. It may be that a clash occurs between the material and anti-material worlds, as suggested by the scientists, and that the material worlds are destroyed, but there is no annihilation of the anti-material worlds. The eternally existing anti-material world is unmanifested to the material scientist. He can simply have information of it insofar as the principles of its existence are contrary to the modes of the material world. Full details of the anti-material universe can be known only from the infallible source of liberated authorities who have thoroughly realized the constitution of the anti-material principle. This information is received by oral reception by a submissive disciple of the personality of Godhead. Continue, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Not audible, Mataji.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. All right, so Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshanaha. So this is the way to actually understand spiritual subject matters. Yesterday we were talking about how any amount of mental speculation, our material intelligence, our so-called brain, material brain, we cannot understand spiritual subject matters. So here that's what Prabhupada is also reiterating by saying that the full details of the anti-material universe, that means the spiritual world, can be obtained only by hearing, by the process of Shravanam from bona fide authorities who have thoroughly realized the knowledge. Right? This is received by oral reception. Shravanam is the most important thing, and Shravanam should be done by a submissive disciple. Right? Submissive disciple. That is why Tadviti Pranipatena, Pariprashnena, and Sevaya. Oral reception is by asking a query, you hear the answer and try to comprehend it. Secondly, you render service. Right? When you render service, automatically submission mentality comes. Otherwise, dominating mentality is what is there in our heart generally. Okay. So who will read next? Anyone else wants to read? Low signal here. Okay, no problem. Okay, so let me continue. The Vedic knowledge was thus imparted into the heart of Brahma, the first living being in the material creation. So we know that verse in Bhagavatam, right? 1.1.1. Janmadhyasya tonvayaditaratastarteshva vijnaswarat tene brahma hridaya adi kavaye muyanti yat suraya. Right? So this knowledge was actually imparted into the heart of Brahmaji by the first, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who is Lord Narayan, isn't it? Right? So that is when Brahma actually is coming out of the navel of Garbhodakasha Vishnu, he is seated on the lotus, right, of the which is on the navel of Garbhodakasha Vishnu, goes up and goes down and sees nothing. He cannot understand anything. The whole place is full of darkness and ignorance. Right? In this way, what he hears is just tapa, tapa, tapa. Exactly what Prabhupada mentioned in the previous paragraph, right? Oral reception. What he heard as by oral reception, tapa, tapa, tapa. When he engaged in the tapa for 1,000 years, then he understood what he is supposed to do, why he is being created. He understood that I'm supposed to do subcreation. I have been imparted this knowledge by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like this, all of this was imparted into the heart of Brahmaji by the Lord himself. Yeah, Ramya Mataji, you want to read? Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
This information is received by oral reception by a submissive disciple of the personality of Godhead. The Vedic knowledge was thus imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first living being in the material creation. It was Brahma who related this knowledge to the sages Narad Muni. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna to Vivaswan, the presiding deity of the sun, and when the oral chain of disciplic succession was broken, Lord Krishna repeated the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. At that time, Arjuna took the role of disciple and student in order to receive transcendental knowledge from Sri Krishna. In order to drive out all misgivings which the gross materialist of the world may have, Arjuna asked all relevant questions and the answers were given by Krishna so that any layman can understand them. Only those who are captivated by the glamour of the material world cannot accept the authority of Lord Sri Krishna. One has to become thoroughly clean in habit and heart before one can understand the details of the anti-material world. Bhakti Yoga is a detailed scientific transcendental activity that both the neophyte and the perfect yogi can practice. The material world is only a shadow representation of the anti-material world. And intelligent men who are clean in the hearts and habit will be able to learn in a nutshell all the details of the anti-material world from the text of the Bhagavad Gita, and these are in actuality more exhaustive than material details. The basic details are as follows. Hare Krishna Mataji, somebody is at the door.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here, what is mentioned by Prabhupada here is the description of the spiritual world. What is the spiritual world? The spiritual world is the original, right? The original piece, right? It's like just like the tree on the banks of the river. That is the original tree. But what do we see in the reflection of the in the banks or in the water? What do we see is the reflection of that original banyan tree, right? So similarly, the spiritual world is the original dham, where all the varieties of living entities, variety of avatars of the Lord are all existing. Whereas this material world is a shadow representation of that spiritual world, right? And who will be able to understand about this anti-material world? Those intelligent men who are clean in their heart, right? That is why Siddhanta, Sadachar and Seva, all the three are required for us to understand about the anti-material world. Now, in the next paragraph, Gopal is going to talk about what is the description of the spiritual world, right? In details, this description is given in Brahma Samhita by our Lord Brahma himself, starting with Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. Right? In that, Brahmaji starts glorifying Lord Sri Krishna as Ishwara Parama, as the supreme controller of all controllers, and then goes on to describe the Dham. Right? So this we will take it up in our next session, which is tomorrow. We'll be talking about who is the presiding deity of the anti-material world, how does the anti-material world look, how do we transport ourselves to the anti-material world, whom do we have to satisfy and please, right? And then you're also going to talk about how to water the root of the tree so that the entire tree is nourished, rather than water the leaves of the tree, the fruits of the tree, etc. It's not required. If you water the roots of the tree, all the parts of the tree get nourished. In that way, we'll study this tomorrow. All right. So let's move forward to our next section, which is the study of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, just one second. All right, Hare Krishna. So let's move forward to the recitation of Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 12. In this chapter, actually, Lord Shri Krishna gives us various options. If not this, do this. If not this, do this. And then finally, he tells us what are the qualities in a devotee that makes a devotee very, very dear to Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, so let me share my screen and then we'll go ahead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Arjuna Vacha Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamah. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vishamano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta Steme Yukta Tamamadah Etvaksharam Anirdesham Avyaktam Paryupasate Sarvatragam Achintyam Cha Kutastam Achalam Dhruvam Sanniyamyendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabuddhayah Te Prapnuvanti Mameva Sarvabhuta Hiterataha Klesho Adhikatarastesham Avyakta Sakta Chetasam Avyakta Hi Gatir Dukham Dehavadbir Avapyate Yetu Sarvani Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha Ananyenaiva Yogena Mam Jayanta Upasate Teshamaham Samudarta Mrityu Samsara Sagarat Bhavamina Chirat Partha Maya Veshita Chetasam Mayeva Mana Adatsva Mayi Buddhim Niveshaya Eva Sishyasi Mayeva Ata Urdhvam Na Samshayah Ata Chittam Samadatum Na Shaknoshi Mayi Stiram Abhyasa Yogena Tato Mami Chaptum Dhananjaya Abhyasepi Samartosi Matkarma Paramo Bhava Madartam Abhikarmani Kurvan Siddhim Avapsyasi Ataitat Abhyashaktosi Kartum Madyogamashritah Sarvakarma Phalatyagam Tatah Kuru Yatatmavan Shreyo Hi Jnanam Abhyasaj Jnanadhyanam Vishishyate Dhyanat Karma Phalatyagas Tyaga Shantir Anantaram Advishta Sarva Bhutana Maitraha Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha Samadukka Sukakshami Santushtaha Satatam Yogi Yatatma Dradanischayah Mayarpita Manobuddher Yomadbhakta Same Priyaha Yasmano Dvijate Loko Lokano Dvijate Chayah Harshamarsha Vayodvegair Muktoya Sachame Priyaha Anapeksha Shuchi Daksha Udasino Gatavyataha Sarvaramba Parityagi Yomadbhakta Same Priyaha Yona Hrishyati Nadveshti Na Shochati Na Kankshati Shubha Shubha Parityagi Bhaktimanya Same Priyaha समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मान अपमानयोः शीतोष्णा सुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दा स्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्मामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाधानमत्परमा भक्तास्तातीव मे प्रियाः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So now we'll move on to chapter number 31 of Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gopis' songs of separation, which are basically called as the Gopi Geet. Gopya uchuhu jayati tedikam janmana vraja shrayata indira shashwadatrahi daita drisyatam dikshutavaka svaidrita savas त्वां विचिन्वते शरदुदाशये साधुजातसत् सरसिजोधरा श्रीमुषादृशा सुरतनातते शुल्कदासिका वरदनिघ्नतो नेह किं वदा विषजलाप्ययात् व्यालरक्षसात् वर्षमारुतात् वैद्युतानलात् वृषमयात्मजात् विश्वतो भयात् ऋषभते वयं रक्षिता मुहुः न खलु गोपिका नन्दनो भवान् अखिल देहिनामन्तरात्मदृक् विगणसार्थितो विश्वगुप्तये सकौ देहिवान् सात्वताम्बुले विरचिता भयं वृष्णिदूर्यते चरणमीयुषाम् संश्रुतेर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहिना श्रीकरगृहं व्रजजनार्तिहन् वीरयोषितां निजजनस्मया ध्वंसनस्मिता भज सखे भवात् किङ्करी स्मनो जलरुहाननं चारुदर्शया प्रणतदेहिनां पापकर्षणं तृणचरानुगं श्रीनिकेतनं फणिफणार्पितं ते पदाम्बुजं कृणुकुचेषुना कृन्धि हृच्चयं मधुरया गिरा वल्गुवाक्यया बुधमनोज्ञया पुष्करे क्षणा विधिकरीरिमा वीरमूयतीरदरसीदुना प्याययस्वना तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति भूरिदा जना प्रहसितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणं विहरणं च ते ध्यानमङ्गलं रहसि संविदोय हृद्यस्पृशः कुहकनो मना क्षोभयन्ति चलसि यद्व्रजा चारयन् पशून् नलिनसुन्दरं नातते पदं शिलतृणाङ्कुरैः सीदति दिना कलिलता मना कान्त गच्छति दिनपरीक्षये नीलकुण्ठलये वनरुहाननं बिभ्रदावृतं गणरजस्वलं दर्शयन्मुहुर् मनसि न स्मरं वीरयच्छसि प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं धरणिमण्डनं देयमापदि चरणपङ्कजं शन्तमं च ते रमणनस्तनेषु अर्पयादिहं सुरतवर्धनं शोकनाशनं स्वरितवेणुना सुष्ठुचुम्बितम् इतर राघवी स्मारणं नृणां वितरवीरनस्ते अदरामृतम् अतति यद्भवान् अहनिकाननं श्रुतियुगायते त्वामपश्यतम् कुटिलकुण्ठलं श्रीमुखं च ते जडौ दीक्षतां भक्ष्मकृदृशां पतिसुतान् वया कृष्णा भ्रातृबान्धवान् अतिविलङ्घ्यते कृष्णा अन्त्यच्युतागताः कतिविधस्तवोत्कृष्णा गीतमोहिता कितवयोषिता कृष्णा कस्य जेनिषि रहसि संविदं कृष्णा हृच्चयोदयम् प्रहसिताननं कृष्णा प्रेम वीक्षणम् बृहदुरश्रियो कृष्णा वीक्ष्य दामते मुहुरति स्पृहा कृष्णा मूयते मना प्रजवनौकसां कृष्णा व्यक्तिरङ्गते वृजिनहन्त्र्यलं कृष्णा विश्वमङ्गलम् त्यजमनाक्षणास् कृष्णा त्वत्स्पृहात्मनाम् स्वजनहृदृजां कृष्णायन्निषूदनम् यत्ते सुजातचरणाम्बुरुहं स्तनेषु वीताक्षणे प्रियदधीमहि कर्कशेषु तेनातवीमतसि तद्यततेन किं स्वेत् पूर्वादिभिर्भ्रमति धीर्भवयदायुषं नः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा धन्यवाद प्रणाम श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय ग्रंथराज भागवतम की जय. So now we move on to our last section, which is the Damodar Leela. So we saw how it is on the day of Diwali. Krishna is coming down early in the morning. Mother Yashoda is singing the glories of Krishna as she is churning nice buttermilk to get butter for making nice sweets for Krishna. So we said the first lesson is to always remember Krishna as we performed our Swadharma duties. Secondly, when Krishna comes and sits in the lap of Mother Yashoda starts breastfeeding him. At that time, the milk is boiling over. The milk is trying to jump over into the fire because the milk is thinking, the Yashoda Maya is breastfeeding Krishna. So what is the use of me? Right? Krishna is already satisfied with that milk. So in this way, our life, the second lesson for us was that our life is useless if we don't engage it in the service of the Lord. Our life obtains value only when we engage ourselves in the service of the Supreme Lord. And then finally, Mother Yashoda runs to switch off the gas so that the milk is saved, because it's the milk from the best of the Padmagandha cows. Today's lesson is whatever we offer to Krishna, it has to be best quality, bestest quality. Whatever we can, according to our capacity, we should offer to Krishna the best of foodstuffs, the best of whatever, the best of the most fragrant of flowers, the best of dresses. Yeah, like that we should offer to Lord Shri Krishna. Just like Mother Yashoda took the best of the cows, or the 900,000 cows which are there with Nanda Maharaj. She took the best of the Padmagandha cows, right? And from those Padmagandha cows also certain select cows are taken. They are fed milk, and then the milk that is coming out of those cows, though that particular milk is fermented to make into curd and then buttermilk, and then that is again being churned to get butter, and that butter is what is fed to Krishna. So our lesson for today is so this particular small thing we missed out. So let's take this as a lesson for today, right? The lesson for today is whatever we have, the best of whatever we have, we need to offer it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is a lesson, right? Because Krishna does not see what we give, Krishna sees what we hold back. So we need to give the best of whatever we have for the pleasure of Lord Shri Krishna. So that is a lesson for today. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. So now let's go on to our singing of Damodar Ashtakam, right? And devotees can also offer lamps to Damodar, the auspicious month. Now it is said that when Lord Krishna, at the end of this Damodar Lila pastime, Nalakvera and Manigriva, who were situated as trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, right? Krishna drags his motor and actually pushes down the Yamala Arjuna trees, right? The trees in whose form Nalakvera and Manigriva were in Nanda Maharaj courtyard. So at that time, Yashoda Maya runs out of the house, runs out into the courtyard, and then checks Krishna with his lamp. Oh, my Krishna, are you not hurt? Right? From the lotus feet up to the lotus face, right? She keeps moving the lamp to check if Krishna is okay. So in that mood of service to the Lord, with love and awe and reverence to the Lord, we will sing this beautiful song, which is Damodar Ashtakam, written by Satyavrata Muni. Okay. Namamishwaram Shachi Rupam प्रसात् कुण्डलां गोकुले व्रजमानाम् यशोधाभियोलुकलाडवमानाम् परामृशमत्यन्ततो द्रुतगोप्या रुदन्तमुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजन्ताम् कराम्बुजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्राम् मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्कघण्टा स्थिताग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभद्रम् लीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् तडीयेषिताग्नेषु भक्तजितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे रुदन्तमुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजन्ताम् कराम्बुजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्कघण्टा स्थिताग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभद्रम् इति दृक्ष्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् अडीयेषिताग्नेषु भक्तजितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे परं दिवमोक्षां न मोक्षवधिं वा न चान्यं वृणीहं द्वारेशदप्येह इदं ते वा पूर्णात् गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्याभिराष्टं किमन्ये इदं ते मूकाम्बोजम् अत्यन्तनीलै वृतं कुन्तलै स्निग्धरक्तशगोप्या मुहुशृम्बितां बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनस्याविरास्तं मलं लक्षलाभै नमो देवदामोदरानन्दविष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजालभिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यादिदीनं वटानु गृहनिशमामग्नं वेद्यक्षिदृशा कुबेरात्मजौ भद्रमूर्त्यैर्भयाद्वत् स्वयमुचितौ भक्तिवाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयाच नमोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते सुदाम्ने सुरदीप्तिदाम्ने तदीयोदरायात विश्वसदाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तोभ्यम् हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, दामोदर अष्टकम की जय, श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय, अनंत कोटि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, सामेत भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. At a short notice, I am very grateful to all of you. 6 devotees who've joined today. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So we'll meet tomorrow for Brahma Muhurta chanting, and then again at 6 p.m. in the evening. We'll see whether it is 4:30 or 6. I'll put a poll in the group, and then we can decide on the time, whether it's 4:30 p.m. or we can have it at 5:30 p.m. Right? Because some of them have written they have some program in the evening, unable to join karke. So let's see what works best. So in this month of Kartik, we will have it on all the days, and then we'll resume back to Monday to Friday. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. So we have Ramya Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Leela Nandini Mataji, Rajni Sharma Prabhu, Maushmi Mataji. Thank you very much for joining in. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So everyone can mute themselves now. Is this time okay? I don't know. Maybe because
Okay,
last
fine, Mataji.
yeah. This
Yes,
time is
Mataji.
okay. Okay. So I'll just put it in the group also because many people would not have seen the message only. So let's see how we can do it. 6 o'clock looks difficult, right? So let's do it that way. All right. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Guru